What's going on, guys? It's Matthew from Labor to Wealth. I'm going to go ahead and jump into The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. And this is a part of our Book of the Month series on Discord. And instead of actually typing this out, I'm going to switch it up and start doing videos, just because I feel like the videos will be more interactive and engaging. And instead of me typing it, you guys can actively hear my voice and actually hear the series of self-reflections that I get from these books instead of just, reading them. So I'm actually going to start off by the first quote that starts off this chapter. And it says, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." So this is a very deep think. It goes back to, the place in which you were raised. It goes back to your parents. It goes back down to your foundation. And it also looks forward to your future, and what lies right before you in your present due to the actions in which you believe your reality to be. Yes, very deep stuff. However, you can break it down into a very fundamental aspect of a inward reflection of realizing that you are not a product of your environment. You are much greater than that, because you are capable and you are able to do all things that you set your mind to. And these series of mindfulness books and mindset and investment books, and they all gear you up to get to a point of inward reflection, to where you actually are able to understand your existence, you understand your purpose, you understand meaning to life, because your life starts to make sense. You can never connect the dots looking forward. You only can connect the dots looking backward in your life. So if you look back in your life and you start reflecting, you can genuinely see how, the place that you grew up, your family members, they did have a ceiling on you. They did have a chain on you, the generational bondage chain. They did have things on you, whether you like to say they did, or whether you actually saw them, or whether you actually saw the chains or not, has absolutely nothing to do with it. But when you look back, you can see how the things around you affected you and shaped your mind into your own belief. And in that belief, you built a belief system. And within that belief system, you based your centeredness. You based a center of which you base your whole reality off of. And that centeredness, or that center of which you build, is a fundamental reflection of who you are as an individual. And who you are as an individual has a great deal to do with how much you know. And the more you learn, the more you know, the more wisdom that you have in this life. And wisdom is the keys to the kingdom. You will never actually be able to understand the complexities of the world around you until you start learning the things that, you start learning the things that are within the fabric of our existence. And again, that's a deep concept, but it's fundamental for you to understand these basic principles in order for you to grow. And once you understand these smaller principles, you are then able to get to a point of where you can actually start seeing yourself in this light. And Stephen Covey talks about in this habit too, the formation of beginning with the end in mind. And he actually has you go back, or actually look forward to the day of your funeral. And I know that's pretty morbid, it's pretty, dark, but it does something to you, and it makes you reflect about things that you've never reflected on before. Because when you start to think about that day, that funeral, you start thinking about who's there. Like, is it your mom and dad? Are you leaving early enough for them to see you? Is it your spouse and your kids? Is it your grandkids too? Like, who's there? And what are they saying about you? Is there friends there? What are the friends saying about you? Is there random people that you've seen across the street, or you met, at the store, that you had a genuine conversation with, and you helped them and they helped you, and you were so genuine that it was just an insignificant event, but it literally changed the trajectory of someone's life, or maybe it changed the trajectory of your life just by a simple, interaction. So when you start thinking about the end, and you start thinking about your funeral, you build these fundamental, this actually, I wouldn't say that. You build a fundamental lens that you view your whole life with. And once you actually think about the end, you start realizing that there are a lot of things that you do today that have nothing to do with the main goal, because the main goal is what you want to accomplish before death, and what your family and what your friends and what the people say about you. And you have to, you know, then do a comparison between that individual in that dream scenario, in that future scenario of your funeral, and the person that you are looking at in the mirror and that's talking to you inwardly every single day. And once you actually compare the two, you start comparing and contrasting. And once you realize the contrast between yourself and your future self, you start then wanting to make active changes. And that leads me into, you know, one of the biggest discoveries for myself. And that is, we are all programmers to our own reality. But until you realize that you are in control of your reality and you are in control of building the program, you will never truly invest in building the program, because you believe the program is out of your control. And when you think that the program and the reality in which you view is out of your control, of course you're going to live a horrible life. Of course everything's going to be chaotic, and you're never really going to find meaning, because the meaning is out of your control. But once you pick up the reins and take up the reins and realize that you are the dictator and the controller of your own reality, which therefore tells your whole existence, and once you're able to tell your whole existence who you are, what you're capable of doing, your whole existence listens to you, and everything stops, and it starts, the reality in which you are currently living in starts to change and conform to that new mindset. Because you start saying, instead of saying, oh, I'm not able, I'm not capable of doing things, as soon as you start changing and start switching or flipping the script, you start saying, I am able, I am capable of doing those things. But the only thing that I haven't done before is I haven't worked hard enough for me to be able to do those things, you know? And responsibility is, you are able. You are able to respond because you can control your response, because you are able. But the thing is, you first have to realize that you are able to do those things. And until you realize that by a series of inward reflections, you will never get to the point of where you genuinely want to be, because you would never think far enough. You would never think in the end. You would never think about the end. And you would never build the fundamental principles in which you want to be like in the end, to then contrast your current self and start building the habits and start establishing the foundations that you need in order to get yourself to that dream destination, for you to initiate that dream journey, for you to finally get to that funeral someday and have all of those people say those great things about you and not say those negative things. And if you rewind back and I know I asked it, talked about a funeral. If you actually thought about your funeral and you thought anything negative, you need to change that mindset. I'm not going to candy coat anything. I'm not a pity party believer in any of that. If you genuinely thought about your funeral and you thought about some people saying bad stuff about you, bro, grow up. Or girl, grow up. You need to realize that you are the controller of your life. Nobody else is. But until you take up the reins for it, until you actually take up who it is that you are and what you were designed to do and what you were designed to be in this life, you will never accomplish anything. You have to change. You need to grow up. You need to wake up and realize that you are the controller of your own destiny. You are. You have the keys to every single door that you want to unlock in this life. You are a multi-millionaire. You are capable of sitting in that dream home and that dream car. But the only thing that you are not doing is you are not changing. You are not changing. You are remaining the same. And the more that you continue to remain the same, you will never eventually go anywhere. Because if you continue to keep doing the same things you've always done, you will continue to keep getting the same things that you've always got in this life. And if you are sitting in a shitty house and driving a shitty car, then your reality and your world will be shitty. There ain't no other way to cut it. So until you start changing that aspect, until you wake up and open your eyes and you start realizing you want better for yourself, you want that dream car, you want that dream home, you want that dream job, you then start building the habits, you start building the foundations in which you need in order to accomplish that. So I'm not with the whole, pity crap, like, oh no, everybody's gonna talk, these people gonna talk bad about me. No, grow up. Change that. Make sure the people that are around you and your friends and your loved ones say great things about you. Change your perspective. Flip the script. Change your life. Move your life and alter your life around. That's genuinely going to get you somewhere. Because I know damn well I am not going to be where I'm at currently in the end of my days. I am not. Not even close, bro. Not even close. I'm gonna be too far away from here. I won't even be able to think about these days no more. I really won't, because I'll be so far ahead. Because I continue to keep actively changing my life every single day in ways that are going to get me to my kingdom. Because I'm actively learning the things that are gaining me knowledge. And once I gain the knowledge, I then gain the wisdom. And the wisdom is the keys to the kingdom. So every single day I'm unlocking new doors to walk me closer and closer and get me further and further into my promised land. But until you realize that it is you who is able, you will never change. So I hope this series, or I hope this reflection of the habit 2 of the 7 habits of highly effective people, sparked an interest in you. And I hope, the relations and the connections of which I, talked about in this, 12 to 15 minute video, genuinely had you do a deep inward reflection about your character, your morality, your principles. And that within that self-reflection, it gave you a inkling of, or maybe even a spark. Let me say a spark. It gave you that spark that you needed to genuinely want to change. You are capable of change. You are. You are capable of doing every single thing in this life that you want to do, baby. Don't get that twisted. You can do everything you want to do. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Don't allow the ceilings that your family placed on you, your friends placed on you, even you put on you. Don't allow yourself to conform to this reality. Realize that you are the programmer to your reality, but you just have to build the program. You are capable of building amazing and a great program that genuinely starts with these baby steps that eventually walk you into your promised land, that walk you into the doors of destiny. So it's you, baby. It's you. You have to change. You have to unlock the things in your mind. You have to grow up. You have to realize that the limitations and the boundaries that have been placed on you have absolutely no power over you at all. You are capable to do all things. So again, guys, I'm actually going to call you guys to action. I really am. So in this series of, self-reflections, I want you guys, after every single video that I do, I want you guys to, take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, get away from your family, get away from your friends, get away from, social media, get away from your phone, get away from everything. Go in a room, go to the beach, go to the park, take a walk, and really get into your mind. Like genuinely do a deep dive in your mind and see where your mind takes you. Just give your mind 5 to 10 minutes without any distractions and just see where it takes you. And realize that in a day, one thought can cloud your judgment. And once you pick up one negative thought and you start leading on with that one negative thought, your whole trajectory that day could be negative. However, if you allow the thought just to flow naturally like thoughts are supposed to do, which are just supposed to flow naturally, you'll start getting to the point and you start realizing that once you have the freedom of control and releasing all the tension that is up here, you fundamentally start to change your reality that you start seeing out here. Promise you that. Stay humble, stay hungry, stay disciplined, guys. Peace.